So what's up, guys? Today I came home with the Norinco MAK-90, and this one probably barely has, I think, 60 rounds through it. Talking to a friend of mine who comes into the place where I work, and he was kind of wanting to get an AR-15, and we got to talking, and I remember him telling me how he had an old AK-47 that he had gotten from his brother back in the early 90s, and how he didn't think it had been shot. He himself hadn't shot it, but his brother might have put a couple of boxes of rounds through it. Anyway, so we did a little bit of horse trading, and I came home with this sucker. So that's one of my biggest regrets, probably my only regret as far as like selling a gun. A lot of times people have buyer's remorse or seller's remorse. I've always been remorseful about selling my MAK-90. It was the first rifle I ever bought back in 1992. I think I spent like $250, $300 for it. And then I shot it for a while and kept it and kind of got out of guns. And then about 10 or 12 years later, I kept having a friend of mine just hassle me about it. And finally I said to hell with it, and I sold it for triple the price. So I guess I did pay around $300, because I remember selling it to him, I think in 2003 for $1,000. So, but anyway, so I'm happy to have somewhat redeemed myself and pick up another one. This one seems to be in pretty much immaculate condition. It's a little rough around the edges here in a few spots, but I took it apart and inspected everything, and I mean the bore and the hammer and the bolt have pretty much zero wear on it. It's in really good shape. One of my favorite AKs has always been like the Chinese ones, like a Type 56 and the Polytex. I'm not lucky enough to own one of those, but the Norinco MAK-90s are very solid rifles. To me, they have the smoothest action out of any AK that I've ever ran, and by far the best triggers. But they're just made pretty well. And this one in particular, I'm not crazy about how it looks as right now, because it looks like his brother, I'm guessing, took the wood furniture and painted it black. So I'm not really thrilled about that, but I can always strip it down and you know, sand it and restain it. If I go that route, I'll probably stain it blonde. If not, I could just maybe find a MAK-90 set of furniture online and just swap that out and slap that on there. Another thing that I'm not too incredibly crazy about is, if you notice there down by the grip, it's the slant cut receiver. But I don't think there's any real quality difference between that and the straight back receivers. But just one of those little things. I'm not too crazy about the stock. It's kind of weird. The angle on it's kind of strange, and it is a little bit longer than your Warsaw length. So I guess I have a few decisions to make. Whether I'm just going to put on another stock, a slant cut stock that's shorter, or I could just always reprofile that one, take like an inch and a half or two off of the very rear of the butt stock, and profile it in the same length and the same shape as a Warsaw length stock. I might do that, but I just kind of wanted to show this off as it is and as it came to me. And I guess we can do maybe a little bit of close-ups. That's one of the really nice things I like about the Norincos is that, to my knowledge, these were the only AKs that came actually blued from the factory. Not that cheap paint kind of stuff that Arsenal uses, or not parkerized. It's actually blued. There you'll notice that you don't have a threaded muzzle, so I'm probably going to have a short little muzzle brake that I have probably pinned and welded to the end of this. Also, you can see there you have your hooded front sight post. I always thought those looked cool. Another feature was the lugless barrel, and it's also, they don't have a cleaning rod. So part of the politics of the 90s. Here's the other side. This is where you can be able to easily tell I guess the blemishes right there. Otherwise, perfect job on the rivets. That's pretty much every Norinco that I've ever seen. And there's your stamping there, MAK-90. But yeah, what else was I gonna say? But yeah, it's pretty slick, pretty smooth. It came with this smooth side, or it's not smooth side, smooth ribbed Chinese AK mag. which is pretty nice. Those are a little bit kind of tough to find. I'll probably put a different grip on it too. I'm not necessarily looking at this as a collector's piece. These guns were very, very well made, very solid rifles and sturdy, so I run my guns, so I'm not a collector. So whatever I decide to do to it, it's definitely going to get ran pretty hard. I'm not going to tactical queer this out. I'm definitely going to put wood furniture on it. I'm not going to put any kind of rails or anything, and I'm probably not going to put any kind of polymer on it, just because I like the look of the wood. Actually, I kind of like the how the handguards are too. There's not really any vent holes there. I kind of like the way that looks. So at least as far as the handguard goes, probably just end up taking them off, stripping it down, and then just stain it. I always like to look at the looks of those handguards. So I'll pop the top and we'll take a look inside. But before we do that, I guess I can try to hopefully demonstrate the smoothness of the action, because these Norincos are incredible. So yeah, pretty much like butter. Incredibly amazing triggers on these two. I remember the first time I shot my MAK-90, it kind of surprised me how amazing the trigger is. Yep, so you're right there. It doesn't take much of a pull at all. But we'll pop the top and let you guys look at the insides, and then we'll wrap this video up. Alright, so there's a quick peek inside the receiver. Again, virtually zero wear on anything. Just a little bit on the rails and a slight bit on the actual hammer there. Go ahead and take out the bolt carrier and bolt. The carrier part didn't match, because if I go by my memory, it seems like these were either chromed or nickel plated, but the bolt matches, the bolt number matches. Here, we'll take a look at the bolt, and this thing is pretty much flawless. There's hardly any signs of wear on it. So I can't wait to take this thing out and get it zero in and run 5 or 6 mags through it. So, alright, one thing I did notice is that the number there, where am I at? Alright, the number there on this gas tube, which if you notice, the Norincos kind of had a somewhat unique gas piston tube with the ventilation holes there. That number matches the bolt carrier, so for whatever that's worth. But that's pretty much it, guys. Just wanted to show this thing off. I'm really happy with it. I think it's going to be an amazing shooter. Most people who know anything about AKs will tell you that the one thing that the Chinese does well are AK-47s. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.